Now to a story that we continue to follow here at NewsNation. Independent test results show high, potentially dangerous levels of carcinogens at rates thousands of times above a control sample on the soil near the disaster site in East Palestine, Ohio. It has been more than 5 months since a Norfolk Southern train derailed there, and officials decided to burn 5 tank cars full of vinyl chloride. The community is still dealing with the aftermath. This week, I spoke to Scott Smith, who presented his test results and findings to the community at a town hall. And after our interview, he then met with the EPA. Scott Smith is back with us now from East Palestine with the latest on that meeting. So you presented your findings to the EPA. Welcome back to you. How did they respond to your data?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Marnie. And I met with Mark Durno of the EPA yesterday at 2, along with a government and public affairs specialist. And I was very pleased with the meeting. On behalf of the East Palestine community, there's clearly a commitment with the EPA to collaborate on the data. We are not at odds with the EPA in any testing, and I can explain all those in detail. But the outcome of the meeting is leading towards probably a joint presentation as we share our data with the EPA.
Okay, so will they be testing again, Scott? What's the next step?
Yeah, the next step is we are going to continue to do more testing around we call the hot spot that we found. And I want to make something very clear for you and the viewers to understand. This is the best way to explain this is air travel. Statistically, air travel, safest way to travel. And unless it's not. If there, God forbid, there is an airplane crash and you're on it or a family member, that's an important event. Now, the same thing statistically, there may be a lot of data points with the EPA all over East Palestine that look okay. But the one data point we have is similar to the airplane story. These are very high levels. We need more testing, and these high levels matter. They can't be dismissed statistically like, oh, it's, the airplane crash doesn't matter because statistically it's the safest way to travel.
So what are your findings showing now? I mean, is there diminished contamination in the soil and air as time goes on, or does it remain there? What does your data show?
We're showing the contamination remains, and in some spots it is increasing. And the other important point to understand is all the standards on contamination data that you see referred to are assuming that pollution is in equilibrium or a steady state. It's not. You have different wind flow patterns, you have different release points, so you can't make these broad general assumptions as to whether things are safe or unsafe.
So a lot of people in East Palestine that we have spoken to want more testing. They want more definitive answers about the toxins in the environment, in the air, in the soil. Will there be indoor testing of their homes moving forward? Would that help and benefit them?
Yes, we have been doing indoor testing for furnace filters and surfaces, and also surfaces on sides of house and sides of homes. And we have a lot more data coming in, and we look forward to transparently communicating the results as they come in. And I consider it a moral and ethical obligation. If we find a site like we found on Taggart Street, I have a moral and ethical obligation to publicly disclose it when we find these levels. With that being said, we need more testing. And if we understand what the problem is, it can then be solved.
A lot of people in this community have looked to you for help and support because of your experience with testing these types of toxins. They have lost a lot of faith in the EPA, but what you're telling me is you are now working in partnership with them. The message to the people of East Palestine following this meeting would be what?
The message is that I am collaborating in good faith with me and my team of experts around me and working with the EPA in trying to get answers as to what is potentially causing these health issues that are not going away. And I believe the EPA is working in good faith, as we will continue to work in good faith. The best thing for the community is for me to continue to work with Mark Durno and the EPA to get the community answers.
All right, and we'll continue asking the questions as you work to gather more data. Scott Smith, I appreciate you coming back on in an update. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.